Hello, it's Tracy Farquhar coming to you once again, a day late, but with this week's tarot reading to give us some guidance for the energy of the week ahead. Today is February 11th. So I've pulled four cards as usual. The first three represent past, present, and future. The fourth card is what I call an action card, and that sums up the whole reading in one card. So let me go through each one and see what I come up with. So we're heading into Valentine's Day, which is on Friday. So it's pretty appropriate. A couple of the cards kind of align with that energy. First card is the Five of Cups, and Cups is the suit of the heart, the feeling self, the emotional self. Five is always kind of a tricky number in the tarot. If you think of the progression from ace to 10, the five is right smack in the middle. So this kind of sense of being stuck in the middle is a prevalent feeling with cards with the number five on them. So the Five of Cups, in the image, you can see five cups, and you can see that one of those is spilled. So the general meaning of this card is really reminding us of our tendency to put all of our focus and energy on what's wrong. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because we do need to be aware of things that need our attention. We need to be spurred into taking action to correct or fix those things. But what this card is encouraging is that you not do that at the expense of ignoring all of the things that are good and right and and happy in your life. So in this case, it's represented by the four upright cups and then the one that's spilled. So all of our attention will go to that one thing that hasn't gone right. So it's asking you to consider all of the blessings and the good things in your life. Again, not at the expense of ignoring what's wrong, but just kind of showing you that you can balance your energy with a practice that helps you to count your blessings, to express gratitude, and to just take note every day of what's good in your life and what's good in the world in general. There is a lot more good than there is bad. It might not seem like that right now for some of us. But when we really kind of step back and look at the big picture, we can see that there's still a lot of beauty and compassion and love in the world. And it is being demonstrated. Just sometimes becomes overshadowed by cruelty and hatred, uh, and all the other things you can think of that are the opposite of love. So, yes, we have to know that's happening. But the best way to kind of counter that is to make sure that you're walking around with the energy that also appreciates the goodness in the world and wants to expand on that. Your attention is like watering a plant. So while you need to be aware, you want to make sure you're putting a lot of time and attention into the things that are good so that they can grow. So the second card, when I said that there were appropriate cards here, this is the most appropriate for Valentine's week. It's the Lovers. And this is the present card. So, there is a kind of literal connotation to this card that even in the pictures depicts a couple probably getting married. But of course, the tarot isn't necessarily literal. The lovers just represents love in general, I believe. And to me, it is reminding us, just like the first card was, that that's the most important thing for us to be doing and living in this moment, because this is the present card. It's asking you how you can express love in the world, and not just with your partner, but in general with the world, and especially to yourself. So I think another really powerful meaning in this card is being your own lover. Loving yourself has to start there. It's not always an easy thing to do. And I know every spiritual teacher out there talks about loving yourself and the importance of it. How do we do that? Well, we treat ourselves gently. We treat ourselves kindly. We think about how we treat the other people in our lives that we love and how we want to be treated by them. And then we look in the mirror and say, how can I improve on treating myself the same way? And that means speaking to yourself kindly in your head. It means not being overly critical. It means giving yourself grace for being human and not perfect and fallible. You know, we all make mistakes. We all have the opportunity to learn from those mistakes. It's one of the reasons we came here, I believe. So to me, these first two cards are saying, give yourself the same kind of treatment that you would like to get from other people, do unto others, of course. But in a higher sense, it's really appreciating who you are, where you are, and what you have, while still wanting something else and something better. It's okay to just to want something else and still see the blessings of the now. Okay, we don't have to settle. We don't have to accept the things that are not in harmony with our belief systems and our sense of love. And we want to make sure that we are taking action in any way we can to increase the compassion and love in the world. And where does that start? It starts here. The third card in the future is the Emperor, and it's come up upside down. That's what he looks like. So when I read an upside down card, to me, it's pointing inward. It's pointing to ourselves and how we're thinking and feeling. And the Emperor is a very, very self-confident figure. So when you look at him, you know, he's kind of sitting in repose. He's laid down his shield. And the feeling in that is, yeah, I'm emperor. I know that I deserve to be emperor. I know that I am the master of my own life. I understand my worth. I understand the value of my experience and my skills, and I don't have to prove that to anybody. So it's another aspect of self-love, I believe, is self-confidence and self-awareness and recognizing our worthiness and our value to the world. So again, there is that sense of, you know, we have to draw the line sometimes when something is not in alignment with that sense of self. And that part of self-love is standing up for yourself and speaking up for yourself and not accepting something that you feel like brings you down, you know, or diminishes your sense of self-worth. So again, this sense of power here in all of these three cards, and the reminder that it starts with our belief in ourselves, our belief in our own power, and not diminishing that sense of power, understanding that the energy that we are emitting right now is very, very powerful, and that starts here. So sometimes the best thing we can do in our circle, in our sphere, is to be gentle and loving with ourselves, and then kind of extend that same kind of loving energy to the people around us. Walk around with that energy, because even if you're not speaking words of love all day long, if you're kind of living in that energy as much as possible, it really does have an effect on everything around you. Now, the final card is the action card that sums everything up, and it's the Ace of Pentacles. So, Ace is always the number one. It always connotates a sense of a new beginning, a new chapter. Pentacles can represent money, our material world, you know, our very earthly life. The word on the card here is reward. To me, it's really strongly saying that this is how we create a new world for ourselves individually and, extending out into the world itself is all of those three messages in these three cards. Being aware of the goodness in life, being part of it, uh, living in a space of love, just living in that place as much as possible. That doesn't mean you have to love and like everybody. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everybody or kowtow to anybody or diminish yourself for anybody. And that's the emperor. Loving means just being in a loving energy, wanting more love in the world. So I'm going to live in that energy and extend that energy out. The reward there is the potential of creating a new world. And we each can participate in this. The big snake on the card can often represent that sense of what needs to be let go of, what needs to be shed, just like the snake has to shed its skin in order to grow. There are things about ourselves and our world that need to go. And where do we start doing that? In here. So some of the things in line with what the other cards are saying, some of the things that might have to go is self-doubt. Again, a diminished sense of self-worth. A feeling like everything is bad, everything is wrong, people are terrible. We see those kinds of statements on social media all the time. And it's true that there are some people who do terrible things. There are some people who are perpetuating hate. It's certainly, I don't believe it's the majority. They're just louder than the rest of us. Okay. So we need to shed the belief that we are powerless against that. Our strongest power is the power of love. And it starts with you, and it starts with the internal sense of love that you radiate out. So, really powerful message for Valentine's Day week. Love isn't just about being coupled, okay, and having a partner. It has to do with love in general, I believe, anyway. And I hope that it helps you and uplifts you a little bit for this week. So thanks again for tuning in. Check out my website at tracyfarquhar.com for some things I have coming up. And I hope to see you again next week. Bye.